While the rest of the running industry has been focusing on the marathon market, New Balance has been developing exciting racing options for the fastest of road races. This is the New Balance Super Comp Pacer. And if you're chasing a 5K PR or lining up for the Fifth Avenue Mile, this is a shoe you should definitely know about. Yo, what's going on everybody? My name is Kofuzi and today I'm going to talk to you guys about the New Balance SC Pacer. But before I do, I want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that I purchased myself. No one sent them to me or is paying me to make this video, and no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about the New Balance Super Comp Pacer. First, let's go over some specs. This is a very low to the ground shoe. It is 25 millimeters of stack height in the heel with an 8 millimeter drop, giving you 17 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot. And yes, a long time ago, that would have been considered a max cushion shoe, but this is 2023, and in 2023 numbers, especially with the foam that's in this shoe, that is about as low of a shoe that I would ever really want to run in anymore, even for something as fast as a road mile or a road 5K. Because what they have in this shoe is New Balance's fuel cell foam. That is a super critical foam that has been used in a variety of New Balance's shoes to what I think has been great success. And it's a squishy foam, it's a resilient foam, and it's also really lightweight. All things that you want to have for those races, even as short as the mile or the 5K, where you still do need a little bit of protection from the road. Now, also in this shoe, you've got the Energy Arc from New Balance, which is the way that they're implementing carbon fiber plates in the shoe. You can kind of see it through this window, through the outsole here. And you can also kind of see the plate position when you're looking at the two different layers of the fuel cell foam that they have in this shoe. Now, when I look at the front of this shoe, it's just incredible how little there is there for this very lightweight shoe. You've got the top layer of the fuel cell foam, then you could see where the crease is, where the two different layers are sandwiching that carbon fiber plate. And then you got a very little amount of fuel cell foam beneath the plate. And if you think about it, there's an inlaid section of a rubber here in the forefoot. So it's actually even less than what it appears to be on the side of the shoe. So there's very little between you, the carbon plate, and the ground. Now, speaking of that rubber on the outsole, there is a decent amount of rubber coverage. So even if your road race is going to be a little bit wet, you're going to be fine in terms of traction. You've got some in the forefoot and you've got a little bit on each side of this Energy Arc channel that's down here to make sure you've got grip in the heel as well. Moving to the upper, it is really stripped down, very basic, and pretty much only what it needs. It has a single layer of mesh, which is really kind of old school in a lot of ways, very soft, very flexible. And it kind of reminds me of some of my favorite racing singlets in terms of the material and the incredible amount of ventilation that you're getting. And as far as the tongue goes, it's just super thin, tiny little piece of material, just enough to keep the laces from putting too much pressure on your foot. And the back of the shoe is nice and floppy as well. All the things that you want to see in a racing flat. Now, this shoe comes in at a super lightweight of 6.7 ounces and 189 grams. Now let's talk about what it was like to run in this shoe. Let me tell you, easy paces, recovery paces in this shoe, it's absolutely terrible. Because this shoe is so low to the ground, I feel like you bottom out the fuel cell at some of those easy paces, but let's face it, that's not what this shoe is for. You're not going to be going on a 10-mile easy run or a 10-mile recovery run in this shoe. That's not why you're getting it. That's not what you're doing with this. You're using this to run fast. And for me, I felt like it was really fun to run in this shoe when I'm running at my 5K pace. And it really felt like this was one of those shoes where I felt like I was doing a lot of the running and the shoe was just there to help me get just like a little bit of a bump, to give me just a little bit of something to make the the run that much more exciting. Because while I do feel like you're basically running on pure carbon and it kind of just feels like you've got like a track flat that you've taken out on the road, when you're getting up to those 5K paces, I do feel like the fuel cell is giving me kind of like just the bare minimum of enough. So it doesn't feel like my body's going to be completely wrecked after the workout. So I feel like the New Balance SC Pacer has really done a fantastic job of stripping absolutely everything away and has kind of given me just the bare minimum of what I need in order to save weight and make it a really light, fast, and exciting running experience. And as far as the upper goes, in terms of the overall fit of the shoe, it was a surprisingly comfortable fit. And I think that has to do with this single layer mesh material that they've chosen for the shoe. Now, it's still winter here in the Midwest, so my feet were really cold on this day, but I do feel like they were locked in really nicely without any bunching and without any crunching of toes. I would normally expect for a shoe that's kind of intended to run these kinds of paces that I'm gonna feel really bound down, and also that a lot of these toes are just gonna get mangled by the end of the workout. And I didn't feel any of that. So a surprising amount of room in here, but also plenty of lockdown to keep me secure, even as I'm trying to run at a pace faster than I typically will run as a guy that normally trains for road marathons. So overall, I feel like this shoe is really well suited for road milers and those of you who are racing 5Ks on the road, maybe even 10Ks on the road. New Balance says that this shoe is intended for a 5K all the way up to the half marathon, and I just can't imagine running a half marathon in this shoe. There just isn't enough foam underfoot for my feet, and admittedly I don't have the strongest feet. Maybe you can take it to the half marathon, but I'm gonna say like 5K thereabouts is really what this shoe is based for, and it's meant for racing or running at those 5K or mile type of speeds, because the shoe definitely only likes to run fast. And I think that this shoe would be a fantastic option to bring to the track if you want to have that bump from the carbon and have something that's low slung to the ground, but don't necessarily want to spike up. I feel like the SC Pacer is going to be a perfect option for that. Now, in terms of pairing options with the shoe, I'm assuming that if you're looking at this shoe, you're probably not a road marathoner. You're probably running something a lot faster and shorter than the road marathons. And that's where my pairing options are kind of coming into play. I think for the daily trainer that you're gonna need, because the SC Pacer is not gonna work for any of your daily training, I think that you should keep it all in the New Balance brand, and you can pair the SC Pacer with the Rebel version 3. This also has that same fuel cell, but it's got a bunch more of it, but it's not kind of an overwhelming amount, and it's still gonna feel really low slung and lightweight. But I've taken this shoe for as long as 20-mile runs, and I felt fantastic afterwards. So it's a pretty wide range of distances and paces that you can take this shoe. So I feel like this is gonna be a good pairing. Now, let's say you want something that's more in the max cushion vibe, maybe for those recovery days. Let's again stay with New Balance, and they've got the SC Trainer. I've been using it more as like a max cushion shoe. It has that fuel cell foam that you're gonna be familiar with the SC Pacer, and it also has the Energy Arc carbon fiber plate in here as well. So I feel like this is another shoe that could pair really well with the SC Pacer. Now, let's say you're not quite certain about this SC Pacer quite yet, and you want to think about what are the other options. There's, I think, a handful. There's not a lot of other shoes that are exactly like the SC Pacer. One that I've really been enjoying, though, is the Takumi Sen. This is the Takumi Sen version 9. It's pretty much exactly the same as the Takumi Sen 8, but this is Adidas's like 5K, 10K racer. You can maybe take it up to the half marathon distance, but this is one of those shoes where you're feeling a lot of the technology underfoot. So it's kind of an opposite feeling as the SC Pacer. So these shoes don't feel similar, but you would use them in similar ways. Racing 5Ks and doing any workouts that are gonna use 5K pace or maybe even a little bit faster. And then the other option, I think this is a little bit more of kind of a long shot comparison that you can maybe also consider, but I'm gonna go with the Puma Liberate. Now, this is a shoe that I don't think a ton of people ran in. It's really low to the ground. It's got a nitro injected supercritical foam here, but this is a shoe that I really enjoyed using as a track flat. And I think that if you're looking for a shoe that you can race your road mile or your road 5K in, and also bring onto the track for some of those fastest workouts, I feel like the Puma Liberate will be a really nice speedy option that has a lot of pop, even though it doesn't have a carbon fiber plate, and it is also really low to the ground. And I don't think it's out yet, but the Puma Liberate 2 is gonna be, I think, even more closer to the SC Pacer, because my understanding is they're gonna firm it up a little bit, so that way it's got even more pop when you're bringing it to rip 200s on the track. So let's talk now about the buying guide for the SC Pacer. I am a little bit late to reviewing this shoe because I don't normally do a lot of running at that 5K kind of pace or effort, but the good thing about that means is that you can find some colors of this shoe at a discount. Now this is a color that just recently released, so this is coming at the full retail of $150, and for me, I just think this one looks so clean that it was worth it for me to pay the full price. But if you're willing to take it in another color, I don't think it's available on New Balance anymore, but on some of the other online retailers that you trust, you should be able to find it, hopefully still in some sizes, at about $100. And at that point, even for us marathoners, it could be a fun shoe to pick up the next time we need to run a couple of 800s. And for those of you who are looking to save a couple of bucks as you're getting ready for those 5Ks or 3Ks or 1 mile races, I feel like this could be a really fun shoe for you to try. So those are my thoughts on the Super Comp Pacer. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, or better yet, stop by the live stream that I do Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. I'd love to talk to you guys in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?